Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I have a book wrap up for the month of August. This is a little bit late, but it's fine. So for August, I only read one singular book. It's really okay because my reading goal for this year is 25 books, and so far in 2024 I have read 17 books. So I'd say that I'm pretty on track, and Goodreads says so as well. So the book that I read in August was Before the Coffee Gets Cold by Toshikazu Kawaguchi. This book is a little bit old. It came out in 2015, and I didn't hear about this book until fairly recently. I probably heard about this book like a year ago or something like that, and it was just sitting in my TBR. And one day I went to Newberry Comics and I decided to buy it, and yeah, I read it. This book has a lot of good reviews and like rave reviews. Everyone is obsessed with this book and in love with this book, but I don't get the hype. Like, I don't want to say I didn't like the book, but I just thought it was okay. Like, I really don't get why people love it so much. I think that goes to show that even though I know it's nice to read books as soon as they get released, because it's like everyone's talking about it and it's like, it's just fun. It feels like a community or whatever, bonding over how much you either hate a book or love a book or whatever. But I feel like it's better to take some time and let the hype die down surrounding a book so that you can better judge or better review the book. So anyways, let me actually talk about what I thought about the book instead of talking about irrelevant stuff. So yeah, this book is centered around a cafe in Tokyo that allows you to travel either back in time or into the future. So of course, with time travel there's rules, and the rules for time travel in this book are as follows. Number 1, you can only visit people who have also visited the cafe. Number 2, there's only one seat that takes you to the past, and there's a woman that sits there all the time. So you have to wait until she gets up from her seat to like use the bathroom. And once you get your seat, once you occupy her seat, you can't move from it. And number 3, your time in the past will begin from the time the coffee is poured into your cup, and you must return before the coffee gets cold, basically. Otherwise, consequences. I don't want to spoil, but there's obviously negative consequences. And then there's another thing. It's not really a rule, it's just like a fact. But when you go back in time or you go into the future, you can't change the future and you can't change the past. What happened is not going to change. So you're literally just going there. Well, okay, let me stop. Let me focus on what my thoughts are. So the book is split into about 4 stories, I believe. Number 1 is called The Lovers. Now if you see me looking down, it's because I'm looking at my notes. Number 1 is called The Lovers, and it's centered around this character named Fumiko. So Fumiko is in a relationship with Goro, who is very career driven and has dreams of working in the video game industry in America. One day they meet up for coffee at the cafe, and Goro tells Fumiko that he's moving to America for work. So Fumiko is upset and kind of like blindsided because she didn't see this coming. She had no idea about his dreams of working in the video game industry. So she acts kind of standoffish, and so she decides that she wants to go back in time because she wants to ask Goro why he never talked to her about the job in America, because she's confused, like, what? So during their conversation, he tells her about that, but he also tells her that he never felt good enough for her because of his insecurity about his looks. And Fumiko wants to tell him that she loves him, but she runs out of time. But Goro tells her to wait 3 years and maybe she can buy him coffee when he returns. So I didn't really like this story. I didn't find it interesting or engaging because, and here's another rule, you can only travel once. Like, once you do it, that's it. So I don't understand. You get one chance to travel into the future or travel into the present or travel into the past, and you decide to travel back in time to go talk to your ex. Because again, you can't change history, and this is your only chance to travel into the future or travel back in time. I understand that everyone has different priorities, but to me this was such a waste of a trip, because why are you going back in time to talk to a man who chose his career over you? And here's the thing, I was gonna mention this towards the end of the review, but I think it's important to mention it now. But I feel like this book wasn't long enough. I don't really like long books, but I feel like this book should have been longer because like if there was more background on Fumiko and Goro's relationship, I would have understood Fumiko's motivations and I would have understand why she did what she did better, because I barely know anything about the relationship. So it's like, to me, I'm just looking at her actions like she's stupid or something. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. But yeah, on to the next, because I don't want to talk about this for too long, but I did not like that story. That's the point. So story number 2 is called Husband and Wife, and I think that this is one of the more engaging stories. In this story, a cafe regular named Fusagi comes in every day in hopes of returning to the past to give his wife a letter. His wife comes into the cafe pretty often as well, but he doesn't remember her because he has Alzheimer's. So his wife, whose name is Kotake, she learns about her husband's letter and she decides to travel back in time before Fusagi got Alzheimer's. So like, yeah, he wanted to travel back in time, but then she ended up doing it instead. So in the letter, Fusagi expresses that he doesn't want to be a burden to Kotake, so he wants her to leave him if everything becomes too much for her. So I like the idea of this story, but it didn't work well enough for me because like I said before, I wish we had more background. Like, I want to know more about Kotake and Fusagi's relationship. And another thing, what could have made these stories stronger is, again, either the book would be longer or each of these stories were just one book. So you have one book where it's focused on Fumiko and Goro, book 2 Fusagi and Kotake, and it could have been a series. Like, it could have been the Before the Coffee Gets Cold series, but stuffing everything into one book, I'm sorry, it didn't work for me. Okay, now moving on to the third story. This was one of the more engaging stories as well, but I still didn't like it completely. So the third story follows Harai, whose family runs an inn and expect her to help run it and take it over once they die. But she doesn't want to do this because she wants to live her own life and live by her own rules. So she avoids her family and she basically goes no contact with them. And her little sister, who actually does help their family run the inn, comes by to the cafe a lot to visit her sister and convince her to come back home. But Harai avoids her. But then one day the sister passes away and Harai basically goes back in time to see her sister one last time. And when she's talking to her sister, she realizes that her sister actually likes running the inn, because she had this idea in her head that like her sister is just like her and she doesn't want to run the inn, she wants to do something else. But like, no, her little sister actually likes running the inn. And basically when she comes back to the present, she's kind of guilt tripped by the employees and the cafe regulars to go back home and run the inn. So I thought that this story was really sad, but again, I barely know these characters, so I couldn't feel that sad. Just feel like if we knew more about the family and Harai and her sister and their relationship and like their family dynamics, all that stuff, this could have been like more impactful, but it didn't do it for me. Okay, so for the final story, it's titled Mother and Child, and I think that this was this was the saddest story in the book. And it was especially sad because the situation could have been completely avoided. So this story centers around the cafe owner, Nagare, and his wife, Ki. So we learned that Ki has medical issues. She has a weak heart. So because of her weak heart, she can't really partake in any strenuous activities, otherwise it'd be like absolutely detrimental to her health. So in the story, Ki gets pregnant, but it's advised by her doctors that she should terminate the pregnancy because it'd be too hard on her body and it would probably cause her to die. Not probably, it would cause her to die. But Ki doesn't care. She really wants a child for some reason, so she decides to keep the baby. And early on in her pregnancy, she decides to travel to the future to visit her future daughter. So this story was a little hard to read because I didn't like the fact that Ki willingly decided to stay pregnant even though she knew it wasn't good for her body, because the doctors literally predicted that she would die, and she ultimately did, and as a result she left her daughter without a mother. Like, I don't understand why she would willingly do this, why she would willingly put herself in a bad situation and leave her unborn child without a mother. Like, I don't get it. Like, it's not good for you and it's not good for your future daughter. Like, who wins in this situation? No one. This is a lose-lose situation. And if Key wanted a child so badly, she and Nagare could have adopted one instead. Like, why are we acting like adoption is not an option? And another thing that annoyed me is that Nagare, the husband, he didn't want this pregnancy to happen, but he barely pushed. Like, he didn't push enough for me. Like, do you really love your wife? Because if you loved your wife, you would have been like, no, don't keep this baby because you're literally gonna die. I love you. I don't want you to die. We can adopt one and call it a day. What's the issue? I don't get it. But that's just me. Like, he didn't do enough for me. Like, I don't think he loved that lady for real. But yeah, like I said, I really don't understand why Key wanted a child so badly. Like, I really wish that I understood why she wanted this. And again, but I feel like these stories have really interesting concepts, but stuffing them all into a 272-page book did not do them any justice. And outside of the stories, my other critique is I also didn't really enjoy the writing style of this book. A lot of the parts were just over-explained and just repetitive. For example, on page 97 it says, she, as in Kotake, had a black shoulder bag on one shoulder and she was wiping the sweat from her brow with a lilac handkerchief. And then on page 98 it says, in the cold silence, the lilac handkerchief she had just used to wipe her brow dropped from her hand onto the floor. And I feel like there's a lot of passages in the book that are similar to this, where it's like constantly repeating random irrelevant stuff. Like, that sentence could have been cut down, you know what I mean? And there's also too many outfit descriptions. Mind you, the outfits are so wacky, like mixing colors and mixing patterns and stuff, and it's like, wait, what are we doing? Like, if you're gonna give an outfit description, at least have it be good, because this outfit sounds whack. But yeah, anyways, I didn't like that there were so many outfit descriptions, because personally I don't like when there are outfit descriptions in the book, because I feel like it takes away from the book and it just feels like fluff or like filler to make the book longer than it has to be, and it gets boring and almost tedious to read. Overall, I did not hate this book, as I said in the beginning, but I didn't enjoy it either. I thought it was okay. Would I recommend this book? Absolutely not. But if you want to read it, I'm not gonna stop you. I honestly think it's fine to read books that you know you won't enjoy. Like, I don't know, I just like reading. Like, I'll read whatever, even if I know I won't enjoy it, unless it's written by someone who's a bad person. That's like, Anyways, that's all I have for you guys today. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Put some book recommendations in the comments down below. Let me know if you have read this book and what did you think of it. Please be respectful in the comments. Please don't drag me just because I have a different opinion than you. Like, let's be respectful. And please don't drag anybody else in the comments if they have a different opinion than you. Don't drag anybody. Be nice. What the heck? Also, like, follow me on social media if you want to. Thank you for watching. Be happy, be healthy. Bye.